Paul and Joshua happening in December. Anything, any prediction on how it will go? Yeah, if it's not handicapped, Anthony Joshua will knock him out.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
I respect them both. It's not a fight I even thought of. I mean, it's nothing to do with me to start with. I mean, it come out of the blue, but it's intriguing. And I think from Jake's perspective, I think, he's had a lot of criticism about, he is a pro boxer now. The way you want to look at it, he trains as a pro, but, and he's fighting as a pro.
Rules, 10-ounce gloves. So they're the little ones that I knock people out with. And when AJ's got them on, trust me, you can feel them knuckles through the gloves. Big heavyweight with the same size gloves as what I had on. So it's not 14 or 16 ounces what you spar in.
Shannon Sharpe called out Jake Paul live on air for wanting to fight Anthony Joshua, and the moment was explosive. It felt like the kind of clip people will replay for years. Jake Paul has been on a wild journey from YouTuber to boxing headliner, and the idea of him facing Anthony Joshua is already huge news. Fans are split on whether it's smart matchmaking or just a circus. With all the fight talk, Netflix hype, and ticket buzz, the situation was already intense. Then Shannon stepped in. He's a Hall of Famer with a strong voice in sports, and he doesn't shy away from saying exactly what he thinks. He believes in respecting the sport, and when he feels someone is crossing the line, he doesn't stay quiet. That's why this confrontation hit so hard. It came from passion, experience, and a genuine belief in protecting.
Joshua won the gold medal. Didn't he win the gold medal for the super heavyweights in the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know Anthony Joshua's history, but I'm thinking about ring experience. That's pretty much it. And I commend Jake Paul for what he's done. I commend him for the work he's put in and how serious he's taken the sport, from going from a YouTuber and actually taking it seriously and dedicating his life to boxing and entertaining, in his own lane and creating a lane for himself in the sport. So you can't handicap a fight like this too, huh?
He won the gold medal, Ocho, in the 2012 Olympics in London.
Yeah.
And the super heavyweight, same one Klitschko, the same one.
How does a moment like this even explode on live air? It always starts the same way, Jake being Jake. He stirs the pot. He talks big. He markets himself like a machine. He drops lines that go viral in minutes. Sometimes he pushes boundaries on purpose, sometimes not. He calls out legends, boasts about his rise, and insists he's the face of boxing right now. That confidence electrifies his fans, but to traditionalists, it feels like disrespect. Then Shannon rises, and suddenly the entire room freezes. Shannon's reaction wasn't random, and it wasn't just for show. It had layers. Layer 1, protecting the sport. To him, and to many purists, boxing isn't just entertainment. It's discipline, sacrifice, legacy. Fighters like Anthony Joshua spent years grinding through amateurs, setbacks, and world title pressure. So when someone from the influencer world jumps straight into headline fights, it can feel like the sport's foundation is being overlooked. Shannon carries that old-school guardian energy, and when he thinks the craft is being cheapened, he doesn't stay quiet. Layer 2, personal accountability. Shannon is big on responsibility, owning your words, owning your choices. And when Jake pushes too far or acts like he's untouchable, that's exactly the button that makes Shannon step in with force. Shannon isn't the type to let loud talk slide. If Jake has been stirring the pot, crossing lines, or saying anything that downplays the real danger of stepping into a ring, Shannon is going to check him, publicly and without hesitation. And that's exactly what happened. Picture the moment, his voice rises, the rhythm sharpens, the question lands like a punch. Then comes the line everyone replays, "This is bull." It's the kind of raw, unscripted TV moment that snaps even casual viewers to attention. People rewind it because it feels like pure honesty, delivered at full volume. Then the aftermath hits. Social media explodes. Fans split into camps. Some cheer Shannon for standing up for the sport. Others say he's stuck in the past and not ready for boxing's new era. Jake's supporters fire back, arguing he's the one bringing massive audiences, new money, and global attention. And that's where the real tension lies. Tradition versus evolution. Old school respect versus modern spectacle. Legacy fighters versus celebrity disruptors. Boxing purists versus viral entertainment. You don't even have to pick a side to feel the charge in the air. What this clash really highlights is that boxing is standing at a crossroads. Legacy names, crossover stars, billion-dollar streaming platforms, and explosive viral moments are all colliding at once. A single live confrontation becomes a symbol of the entire debate. Did the sport win because it got the spotlight? Or did it lose something in the process? Did the sport lose something when the narrative shifted from legacy to clicks, from rankings to raw heat? That's the debate fans will be chewing on while they wait for the bell to ring. Because moments like this, messy, loud, imperfect, do one thing better than anything else: they get people talking. They push the needle on what a big fight means in 2025. Whether you think Shannon was right to call Jake out, or Jake was right to keep the entertainment machine rolling, that burst of chaos proves one thing: boxing is alive. It's emotional. It's unpredictable. And when sports collide with media, sparks are guaranteed. The chaos only intensified when rumors began swirling across social media. For days, fans refused to believe Jake Paul was actually stepping in with a former two-time heavyweight world champion. But then came the confirmation: Jake Paul vs. Anthony Joshua. Miami. December 19th. Netflix. Suddenly, the impossible became real. And just when things couldn't get crazier, Logan Paul ran into UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier, both recording podcasts in the same building. Logan, never one to miss a moment, immediately pressed DC about the upcoming Joshua fight. When Cormier realized the Netflix rumors were legitimate, you could see every emotion hit him at once: confusion, disbelief, concern, respect. Logan told him straight, yes, the fight is real. Cormier didn't hold back. He said, there's got to be some rules in place for Anthony Joshua. He pointed out that critics, especially MMA fighters, keep underestimating Jake. And then he dropped the line that changed the tone of the conversation: stop treating Jake like he's not a boxer. It's been 5 years of pure boxing, with top coaches and serious training partners. He's gotten better. He can fight, man. Logan nodded. DC kept shaking his head. The internet kept exploding. And then Logan interjected with the line that sent the room into chaos: yeah, but what about Anthony Joshua? That's bad, bro. Cormier's reaction had everyone laughing, but he wasn't joking. His point was simple: Jake might be improving, but AJ is still AJ. Since his knockout loss to Daniel Dubois in September 2024, Anthony Joshua hasn't stepped into the ring. But the 36-year-old is absolutely convinced that his comeback will be explosive. After the fight was officially announced, Joshua didn't mince words. He promised he would destroy the internet by taking out his 12-1 opponent. Jake or anyone can get this work. No mercy, Joshua declared in a press release. He added, I took some time out, and I'm coming back with a mega show. It's a big opportunity for me whether you like it or not. I'm here to do massive numbers, have big fights, and break every record, while staying cool, calm, and collected. Mark my words, you'll see more fighters take these opportunities. I'm about to break the internet over Jake Paul's face. And just when fans thought the storyline couldn't twist any further, Tyson Fury's prediction surfaced online. Joshua's longtime rival didn't hold back. Speaking to The Ring magazine, Fury said, I think Jake Paul knocks him out. AJ is a spent force. Jake Paul is on the rise. I like his new heavyweight look, bit chubby, bit bulky, but he's getting there. Yes, Tyson Fury, of all people, is picking Jake Paul. At 28, Jake has spent most of his career at cruiserweight. But last November he stepped into the heavyweight division, the same division ruled by giants like Mike Tyson, and won a points decision over the 58-year-old former champ. Now he's preparing for the biggest fight of his life. December 19th. Miami. 8 rounds. 3 minutes. Standard 10 ounces gloves. Joshua capped at 245 pounds for the weigh-in. Meanwhile, AJ is still loosely tied to a long-awaited showdown with Tyson Fury, a fight that has been teased, delayed, resurrected, and stalled for years. Fury's own future is unclear. Jake Paul was originally scheduled to fight Gervonta Tank Davis on November 14, but that bout collapsed after Davis became the subject of a battery investigation involving an ex-girlfriend. With the fight cancelled, Paul and his business partner, MVP CEO Naki Sabayadarian, scrambled for new opponents. According to them, several fighters agreed, including Anthony Joshua, while Tommy Fury once again refused. Tommy fired back online, offering me the fight in America, a place you know I can't even get into right now? Convenient. Offer me the same $15 million anywhere else in the world and I'll be there in 8 weeks to shut you up. Again. Tommy Fury, who beat Jake Paul by decision in 2023, remains the only fighter ever to defeat Paul, and he clearly hasn't forgotten it. Meanwhile, British boxing legend Carl Froch unleashed a brutal assessment of Anthony Joshua's career, arguing that even if AJ crushes Jake Paul, his prime is long gone. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Froch questioned what Joshua's true legacy even is. He acknowledged that AJ brought boxing back into the mainstream and filled stadiums multiple times, something Froch himself did with 80,000 fans at Wembley in 2014.
Is AJ cashing out? Well, I did say a year ago when he got splattered by Daniel Dubois that he's finished now. He won't get that confidence back. He's not had any confidence, in his head no belief for a long time. And I don't think he can get back to world level. There's a couple of new young guns now coming up and coming through. It's like a changing of the guard. And when Usyk retires, I don't know what Daniel Dubois is going to do next, but what Daniel Dubois did to him, then he went on and lost to Usyk. But there's a few new heavyweights coming through, Moses Atalma, just to mention one. And you wouldn't start putting AJ in with any of these young up-and-comers that can punch hard, because I just don't think he's got the chance, because the ambition and the desire is going to be gone. So AJ most definitely is cashing out, and you can't fault him. Fair play to him. He's going to get a massive payday, maximise his exit route.
Froch didn't stop there. He reminded fans that after losing twice to Oleksandr Usyk, Joshua was finally flattened by Daniel Dubois, a moment Froch believes marked the true end of AJ's prime. In his view, that knockout was over a year ago, and Joshua has been fighting uphill ever since. According to Froch, AJ is now simply cashing in on the wild, unpredictable era he calls the clown world of modern boxing, where spectacle often outweighs legacy. And with both Joshua and Jake Paul set to earn millions from their upcoming matchup, Froch remains unconvinced that AJ has fully secured his place in boxing's Hall of Fame before his career winds down. Froch continued by clarifying what he believes AJ's true legacy is. For him, Joshua's impact wasn't built on a Hall of Fame resume, but on what he did for the visibility of boxing. He credited AJ for bringing the sport back into the mainstream, drawing in casual fans and crossover audiences who simply wanted to be part of a massive occasion. People showed up for the event, Froch said, not necessarily for the technical love of boxing, and that exposure was undeniably good for the sport. But Froch argued that this is where AJ's legacy starts and ends. In his view, Joshua hasn't achieved the kind of career that earns a Hall of Fame induction. To deserve that level of recognition, Froch stressed, a fighter needs consistent world title defenses and victories over truly elite opponents, criteria he believes Joshua hasn't fully met. And while he insisted this isn't meant as disrespect, Froch admitted that taking the Jake Paul fight pushes AJ even further into what he calls the clown world of boxing. Yes, it's huge money. But in Froch's eyes, it also chips away at Joshua's legacy. Meanwhile, despite the massive gap in skill and experience between the two men, David Benavidez has stepped forward to praise Jake Paul for accepting such a dangerous challenge. Most analysts expect Joshua to dominate, but Benavidez made it clear he respects Paul's courage. I give 100% respect to Jake Paul, but that's a dangerous fight for him. He probably gets knocked out. I'm not trying to be a hater. But Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua. Benavidez pointed to AJ's resume, multiple-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist, and reminded fans what happened the last time someone with limited experience stepped in the ring with him. You saw what happened to Ngannou, he said. Still, he applauded Paul for stepping up, calling the card massive and insisting that the fight will deliver entertainment. On the other hand, Lawrence O'Colly has offered Jake Paul his. Former cruiserweight world champion Lawrence O'Colly has stepped into the conversation with a surprising offer. He wants to help Jake Paul prepare for Anthony Joshua. O'Colly, who spent years sparring with AJ while training under Joshua's promotional banner, believes he can give Paul the best possible read on what he's about to face. I want to go and help Jake Paul and give him a chance, O'Colly said from his training camp in Dubai. I want to go out to Puerto Rico. The offer is there. Even though I've got a fight coming up, I'll go for a couple of weeks. I need to know what it is that's making Jake Paul think he can get in there with a 250-pound muscle man from England, an Olympic gold medalist, a two-time heavyweight world champion, fighting in front of millions on Netflix. Maybe Jake has a secret I don't know yet. I want to see it before the fight. Now a full-fledged heavyweight and the WBC's top-ranked contender, O'Colly is one of the few fighters who has shared rounds with both Paul and Joshua. That gives his perspective rare weight. And while he isn't predicting a Jake Paul upset, not even close, he does believe Paul might be able to give Joshua some moments to think. Still, O'Colly makes it very clear, the real battle begins only if Paul manages to land anything meaningful on AJ. I'm not going to sit here and pretend there isn't a crazy difference, O'Colly said. Size, skill, experience, everything. The gap is massive. But O'Colly admits, you know what? Crazier things have happened, so let's just see. When asked if he thinks Joshua, with 25 knockouts and 28 professional wins, could finish Paul in the opening round, O'Colly shook his head. For some reason, I don't think so. From what I know of AJ, I don't think he's going to throw a massive right hand and end it in 30 seconds. I do think, though, if Jake Paul starts landing, that's when things get interesting. O'Colly explained that when you spar someone not quite on your level, You learn how hard to throw and how to move. He noted that Joshua hasn't been in the ring for a while, so he might treat this fight partly as an exercise. If Jake clips him and doesn't go down after a hard shot, that's when it'll get really interesting, O'Callaghan said. He added that, yes, Joshua's reach and size are huge advantages. Unless you pick your punches really cleverly and stay on rhythm, it's going to be tough. That's the biggest challenge for Paul. O'Callaghan also admitted that sometimes the people behind the fight see things the public doesn't. We don't know what his coaches are thinking or why they chose Anthony Joshua. Maybe they see something we don't. We'll find out soon enough. At one point, O'Callaghan joked that he could never fight Joshua himself because his mother wouldn't allow it, given all Joshua had done for his career. He laughed at the memory. Well, she'd allow it now. Let's put it that way. She's not against AJ, she's just more on me. Johnny Nelson says, Anthony Joshua has put himself in a no-win situation. Speaking to Sky Sports News, he added, it feels like there are 50 million reasons why Joshua is taking this fight. Honestly, I never thought it would happen because of Joshua's goal to be remembered in history as a 3-time world champion. This shows it's now about business. Nelson also pointed out the weight factor. The limit for Joshua is 245 pounds. The last time he fought at this weight was against Usyk. In his last fight against Daniel Dubois, he was 254 pounds, so he's going to have to be fighting fit. This isn't a game, this is serious boxing. He compared it to other big crossover fights, saying, remember McGregor versus Mayweather? If this is a real, legitimate fight, then Jake Paul is super brave. It's going to be interesting to see. Joshua's promoter, Eddie Hearn, has emphasized that this will be a proper professional fight, with both fighters using standard 10 ounces gloves for heavyweights. Nelson concluded, AJ is in a tough spot. If Jake Paul lasts the distance, people might question AJ. If Joshua knocks him out, then it would be expected. Either way, there's no easy outcome here. Nelson added, there's probably not much glory here, except for the haters of Jake Paul saying, I've taken him down. But now, Jake Paul has everyone's attention, and he'll have to back up all his claims. He explained that while people can play sports like football, golf, or tennis casually, boxing is different. Boxing isn't a game you can just play, Nelson said. He suggested that most viewers will be watching to see if Jake Paul finally gets proven wrong and whether the best version of Anthony Joshua shows up. If that version of Joshua shows up, Nelson said, it will be a comfortable and satisfying night for boxing purists. But if any other version appears, and Joshua struggles with Paul, then he'll need to ask himself whether he's become more of a businessman or a prize fighter than a true boxer. Nelson reminded viewers that Joshua hasn't fought since his knockout loss to Daniel Dubois in the IBF World Heavyweight title fight last September. He questioned whether the former 2-time champion can ever regain his peak form. Joshua's chances of becoming world champion again are getting slimmer and slimmer, Nelson said. The biggest fight outside of this one is probably Tyson Fury. He's making more money and headlines than any world champion, even though he's not boxing for a world title. Both Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua are taking advantage of the current state of boxing today.
It's not a fight I even thought of. It's nothing to do with me to start with. It come out of the blue, but it's intriguing. And I think from Jake's perspective, he's had a lot of criticism about he is a pro boxer now. The way you want to look at it, he trains as a pro, and he's fighting as a pro. They said it's about time he fought some. I've seen some of the stuff, that been said. When's he going to fight someone? Well, he's gone from one extreme to the other. That's what he's doing. So if that fight happens, you've got to take your hat off to him.
He got called out by Andre Ward, AJ. Would you rather see Jake fight AJ, which is obviously, as we know, a mismatch, or Andre Ward, who's been retired for, 4 years?
I'd much rather see AJ fight Tyson.
Oh, please. I dread to think how many times
we don't know if
you've
that's
done
going to
this.
happen because the big man, he's filming, he's not made his mind up what he's going to do.
Nelson said that after Joshua's loss to Dubois, you might expect him to be eager to get back in the ring to prove himself, but he hadn't shown that. Nelson suggested that Joshua might feel his best days are behind him. Even if he wouldn't say it publicly, he has to make the most of what's left in his career. Nelson added that while Joshua used to be the world's best heavyweight, by agreeing to fight Jake Paul, he must know some traditional boxing fans will criticize him. But the fight could earn him over $50 million, and if he knocks Paul out, he can move on. Nelson argued that anyone honest would take such an opportunity. Joshua should fight and get on with his business. Meanwhile, promoter Frank Warren warned that Joshua vs. Jake Paul looks like a car crash waiting to happen. He told ESPN that it's a huge moment for Paul, who is a big underdog, and that everyone would expect Joshua to win. Still, Warren said people will watch, and it will draw massive numbers. He added that Joshua is taking the money and choosing an easy option, and he'd rather see Joshua fight someone like Moses Atama instead. Joshua is still expected to face Tyson Fury in a big match next year, even if he fights Jake Paul first. Eddie Hearn, Joshua's promoter, said last week that they're working to make it happen, with Turki Al-Sheikh, chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, helping negotiate the deal. Al-Sheikh confirmed Joshua is planning a fight in February, with a potential match against Fury in 2026. Hearn said their side deal is almost finalized, but Fury will have the final say. Warren added that it all depends on whether Fury wants to do it and if the money is right. Meanwhile, Ariel Helwani weighed in on the Paul vs. Joshua fight. He said it doesn't damage Joshua's legacy, noting that even legends like Muhammad Ali and George Foreman took part in unusual or gimmick fights. But Helwani stressed that the bigger concern is Paul's safety. He pointed to Francis Ngannou, who was knocked out and motionless for a long time, as a scary reminder of how dangerous boxing can be. Helwani said, "The real discussion around Jake Paul vs. Anthony Joshua is safety. People die in boxing. This fight could put Paul at serious risk." Despite the widespread criticism from the boxing community, Jake Paul has confidently declared that he will beat Anthony Joshua. Joshua is still expected to face Tyson Fury in a big match next year, even if he fights Jake Paul first. Eddie Hearn, Joshua's promoter, said last week that they're working to make it happen, with Turki Al-Sheikh, chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, helping negotiate the deal. Al-Sheikh confirmed Joshua is planning a fight in February, with a potential match against Fury in 2026. Hearn said their side deal is almost finalized, but Fury will have the final say. Warren added that it all depends on whether Fury wants to do it and if the money is right. Meanwhile, Ariel Helwani weighed in on the Paul vs. Joshua fight. He said it doesn't damage Joshua's legacy, noting that even legends like Muhammad Ali and George Foreman took part in unusual or gimmick fights. But Helwani stressed that the bigger concern is Paul's safety. He pointed to Francis Ngannou, who was knocked out and motionless for a long